Gen Z can buy a house. Hey guys, Jordan Moorhead here. I wanted to talk about all of the ways and all of the reasons why Gen Z should buy a house and can buy a house. I see YouTube videos all the time of people saying, hey, I just can't buy a house anymore. My parents' generation, the generation before them, they all were able to buy a house. They were able to live on one salary and raise a family on that salary, and they achieved the American dream. The American dream is absolutely still possible, and there's so many ways you can do it. But it might not necessarily look the same as what your parents did. It might look a lot better. So just for example, house hacking is a strategy that I love to talk about, and it's a way that a lot of people can get started buying real estate and achieving the American dream. So when I got started looking to buy my first house, my duplex, I was looking to buy a duplex, and I only got approved to buy a house at first, a single unit house. Now at the time, it's 2016, interest rates were around 3.5%, 4%. Prices were a lot lower too. And at the time, I was only approved for around $170,000. And there was nowhere I wanted to live that had homes that were around $170,000. They were close to all the things that I like to do. So you could say, I could have said, can't do it, given up, just gonna go along my way, and maybe someday I'll be able to buy a house, maybe not. I'll just keep renting for a house, keep throwing all my money away. It doesn't matter, it can't happen for me, woe is me. But that's not the truth. The truth is, there's so many ways you can do it. If I really wanted to buy a house, I could have moved a little bit further out. Absolutely could have bought a house. Here in Austin, Texas, in the Austin, Texas metro, you can find houses for under $300,000, where they're buying down the rates into the 5s, where today they're at 7. It's one way you could buy a great house. Or, in my favorite, you could house hack. You could buy a property. So why I love house hacking for allowing you to get into owning real estate, it's the exact reason it worked for me. So again, we're gonna go back to my scenario. I was approved for around $170,000 for a single family house. But I talked to the lender and I said, hey lender, I'm interested in buying a duplex. So we're gonna have rent coming in for another unit. They said, well, what do you think the rent's gonna be? Said, the duplexes I'm looking at be around $1,300 coming in from the other side. So that increased my approval amount to $240,000. Then I could absolutely find a duplex for that price. It was no problem. It's here in Austin, let's say you're looking at houses that are $400,000 to $500,000. Man, you can't afford that, you're approved for $350,000. But you start talking about duplexes, and they're the $450,000 to $550,000 range. When you add in that rent from the other unit, that will absolutely get you up to the point where you can afford a property. And while you're building your career, while you're making more money in life, while you're really getting everything in order, this is a great thing to do. Maybe you don't want to build a massive real estate portfolio, but you just buy one duplex. So you're saying, hey, I'm part of Gen Z, or I'm a younger millennial, can't happen for me. Then you change lanes and say, well, actually, I'm gonna go buy a duplex. I'm not gonna buy my first house first, because can't afford a house in this area right now. It just doesn't make sense. Instead, you go buy a duplex, you live for less than your rent, and you're able to build equity and build passive income in this duplex. So let's say you're paying $2,000 a month in rent, which is totally common here in Austin. $2,000 a month in rent. You reduce your living expenses to $1,000 a month. You get into a property, so you start paying down that property. You're building equity in this property. It's appreciating over time. You're saving money on taxes because you own a property, and then you build passive income too. So 2-3 years down the line, you're like, all right, I'm making more money at my job. I've got a nice nest egg set aside because I've been living for $1,000 a month this whole time. Now I'm gonna go buy that $500,000 or $600,000 house, the house you really wanted in the first place. But you took a few years off because you're a smart person financially, and you built a really solid financial future for yourself. So not only are you now able to go buy that house you wanted anyway, that you weren't able to in the past, but you have one duplex, and over 30 years, let's say this is worth $750,000 to easily $1 million in Austin. 30 years later, it completely paid off. You've got an extra $1 million in retirement. You've you've got passive income of, let's call it $5,000 a month, you're doing great. And you went from saying, I can't buy a house, to I'm a multimillionaire in retirement because I bought a duplex first. Gen Z, younger millennials, whoever's watching this, you absolutely can buy a house. Just make it a house hack first, and then go buy whatever house you want later. Delay that gratification, and you will be much more successful than your peers that are struggling to get into their first house and can barely afford the mortgage payment. Don't do that. Be smart. House hack first. Hey guys, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel here. And if you have any questions at all, make sure to email me at jordan.moorhead@kw.com.